Hello! Hillary Raven Porter here with Sacred Starseed Healing. I'm a Sacred Grid Weaver and a Tamiana Starseed Oracle, helping you release the struggle, reclaim your life so you can become the embodiment of your heart. Today, I want to talk about the term activated. Activation. I realized I use this term a lot. I'll be doing a post or I'll be doing a quick little story, which is where this came about the other day. I was super activated after a session, and I just kept on saying activated and activated, and I was like, but what does that even mean? Not everybody's gonna know what that means, right? Or necessarily have had that experience. So let's talk a little bit about activated. Some people, so a term that I used to use a lot was, I feel really high. So if you've ever dabbled in any type of psychedelics or any mind-altering substances, so psilocybin, LSD, anything like that, then you know what this altered state feels like. And the thing is those aren't needed for the altered states. Yeah? That's what activated is. That's when you get this activation of seeing things behind the veil, of seeing things behind the matrix. The senses opened up, expanded. The boundaries aren't there the same. So the difference between using substances to create this versus being activated, I don't want to say in a natural state because, psilocybin and stuff, natural, but in an inner world state, in your own center core state, coming from your power center. So your power center, your solar plexus, activating. So this is your central solar sun, highlighting, sending the current. Yeah? And when we're activated, we'll talk a little bit about some of the things that you can feel, which include vision and clarity of vision in multiple different kinds. Okay? So activated, activation, clarity of vision. Let's start there. Clarity of vision happens with your physical eyes and with your third eye. So you're a visionary. You can see all of a sudden you're just like, oh, this is connected to this, is connected to this. Clairvoyance, seeing stuff, feeling stuff that that's different, but it all interlinks, right? Feeling stuff that other people feel. All of a sudden, everything is clearer, even though it might seem more wavy. What do I mean by that? So I think about when you first ride a bike and you're like, ooh, everything's kind of teetery-tottery. And then there's this new sensation of you get on it and you're riding and you can feel the wind and you just feel this freedom, this expansiveness. But in the first little while, you're like, oh, this is an interesting feeling. I'm not quite sure what to do with this, right? And you're incorporating that sensation, and how do you balance on this new contraption that you're on, this two-wheeled contraption of awesome. Same, as you get used to these activated states, you're like, oh, that's what that feels like. It's not so disorienting. Because then it's what you're doing. Even thinking about kidlets, when you were a little kid and you first started walking and you're like teetering and tottering around, and then you got used to it and you're like, oh, okay, this is how we do it, right? You get into the rhythm. So clarity of vision, see things, feel things, know things, and you don't even question why you're knowing it or how you're knowing it. You just know, right? Clarity of vision with your eyes. You see things for as they truly are. Clarity of vision with your eyes is also seeing things shift, become pixelated, become fractalization. Totally not a word. It is in our house. It is now. You can see all the little fractal patterns. So things are not solid. So even like this book that my camera is propped up on, it looks solid. I can turn the pages, but it's not solid. All the little atoms are vibrating, and there's all these little spaces in between these atoms, right? But because of how they're vibrating, it seems like a solid item. So when you become activated to a certain state, you can actually see these little vibrations happening in the things that you're looking at. They don't become so solid anymore. And as things become less solid, or viewed as less solid, as you are able to see into the depth of these things, into the actual structure, you're able to, I don't like the term manipulate, but adjust things as they are or as they appear to be. Yeah, so that's one. So this activation is a pure vibratory upshift. Your vibration is going from to, and we know. So this is why we feel anxiety or can feel anxiety when we are feeling activated, especially when we're at a major step. So we go through these steps. We're like, right? At the beginning of the step, we're like, oh, this is intense. This is intense. And as we get to the top of that step, that section, we're like, oh, because we've got our feet underneath us. We've learned to ride that bike. We're like, oh, this is what this feels like. But then we go, and we get into the next step. Well, what's this? This is the same as this, just at the next step. And now we're like, whoa, everything's intense again. I took the pusaka vibratory upshift, right? And so that's why we can feel this disorientation, because we're getting used to this new way in which we're experiencing the 3D realm, because we're no longer experiencing it as the 3D. We're experiencing it as 5D and other D dimensions. In an activated state, you can feel relaxed and energized all at once. So an example is last night we did the Gaia Chord, a level of Tamiana, and so activated. So I was exhausted and I was like, okay, I just want to lay in bed. But then my mind was going and downloads and information and more things, and let me write down more things. But I was relaxed into this space, right? And in these spaces, I like to call them the space of awe, we do more. Not by doing, it's just time becomes quantum. You know this, when you're like walking down the street and you're listening to your headset, that's a phone apparently, you're listening to your headset, you're listening to some music, and you look down and you're like, okay, I just walked like 10 blocks and I only listened to 2 songs. Not physically possible in the realm of what you knew before. But when time is quantum, it's completely irrelevant. There's linear time goes out the window. So you're like, oh yeah, no, I totally did just shift forward that far in 10 minutes, right? Less than 10 minutes sometimes, depending on the song. Sometimes maybe a little bit more. But you're looking at this and you're like, there's no way. But there is a way. You have entered the quantum fields because of this activation, right? We talked about the fractalization, this floating, this ease, this synchronicity, time manipulated, quantum time. But how do we become activated? And how do we access all of these states? So often when people are first becoming activated and they're accessing these states, they feel the flow, they feel the synchronicity, they feel this ease that happens. Yeah? And then as you do it more and more, right, it builds upon itself. And then you're like, oh, now time is super quantum. You might have some like little quantum time things. And you're like, oh, how did that happen? How did I do everything on my list in 20 minutes when it should have taken me 4 hours? Or how did time extend and that thing that should have taken me 5 minutes took me like 3 hours, right? Because you're manipulating time, contracting and expanding time. So as you keep doing this, and then as you keep doing this, you're like, oh, there's the fractalization around me. Oh, there's the things that are shifting. Oh, and then more and more and more. So it compounds upon itself. So we get there, we get to this state where it now becomes our new reality through consistency. So continuing to do the work to come to these finer vibrational states. And also the more you do it. So consistently doing it and continuously doing it. 2, right? How do we do this? Multiple things. Apparently there's multiples. Multiples of multiples today. Okay, 1, how do you treat your body? What food nourishment do you put in? The cleaner, finer vibrational food that you use, the more your body can meet you at this finer vibrational state that you're coming to. What are you ingesting? Not just with food. What are you ingesting with media? How much media are you ingesting? What kind of media are you ingesting? Yeah? What are you reading? All of this affects your vibration. All of it. Every piece of it. Yeah? So this isn't saying don't ever watch Netflix. That's not what this is. This is what are you when you do? And how often are you? And are you using it as a tool to suffocate this finer vibration, to keep yourself in this denser vibration? Or are you using it as a tool to like lift yourself up? I love my comedy. Ask my partner. Rom-com, Brooklyn Nine-Nine. Oh yeah. In bits. In bits. Yeah? but not as a tool to suffocate and avoid the processes, but as like a, hey, I need a good laugh right now. Let's have a good laugh. Cosmic laughter. Love it, right? Okay. What are you ingesting? What are you ingesting and digesting or not digesting with the company that you keep as well? Okay. So anything that you take in is what you're ingesting. What you hear, what you see, what you taste, all of that. Okay. So clean and finer vibrational things, right? Also your thoughts. Thoughts. Where are your thoughts going? Are your thoughts always going to those denser states? Stop yourself in that moment. Say, no thanks, I'm good. Switch it right then and there. Change that pathway. Another way, meditation. Yeah, lots of different meditations. So when I say meditation, I don't mean you only have to sit there. There's walking meditation, which is really good, I find, for people that are starting out, because then they're moving their body. So breathing in with raising your foot and breathing out, putting your foot down, or breathing in as you raise and drop one foot, breathing out as you raise and drop the next foot. And doing it this way, slowly, not like that, but like, and the slower you do it, the more you get into the state that takes you to this state of awe and the expansion that happens, the vision that comes, right? So that's one type of vibration of meditation that I love. But there's the sitting meditation, there's guided meditations. Again, what type are you ingesting? Okay. The food we talked about, spiritual activities. This can look like so many things. This can look like ritual work. I love me some oracle and tarot cards. That's often nature. Nature is the natural upshifter, but intentional time in nature, not just like, went for a hike, run out. No, go and intentionally breathe in, speak with the trees, sit with the grass. I love me some moss, lay within the moss, sit on the rocks, and just breathe in that space. And say, hey, how's it going? What's going on? Hey, nice to meet you. And consistently, right? Regular basis. These things, all of these things. Other spiritual activities. And when I say spiritual, divinatory, finer vibrational activities. Singing, chanting, kirtan. Kirtan, love me some kirtan. Let's get some kirtan going back on. So call and response Sanskrit chanting opens up this. The tongue on the roof of the mouth, as you're saying these chants, triggers different pressure points on the roof of your mouth, which then triggers certain processes in your body. Breath work, right? Find a breath work practitioner that you align with. Very helpful to have people that practice these, that live these tools, and then that teach them and are able to be there to help coach, guide, mentor you through these processes, because these things can upshift you and you can feel like you're going a little crazy. I was blessed to find a mentor right at the perfect time. And honestly, that was a huge influence to how my energy current was flowing and how I was seeing what was happening to me. That it wasn't a bad thing, that it wasn't a crazy thing, that it wasn't, that it wasn't something that was detrimental to me. I just didn't know how to run the current. So it was super helpful. Get some healing work done by an energy worker, a light worker. This could be things like massage, certain types of massage. You can be looking at esoteric acupuncture, TCM acupuncture. Esoteric takes it that next level with sacred geometry. Crystal healing work, Tamiana, cranial sacral. What else do we have here? Shaman work, ritual work. Really taking the time for yourself and doing retreats, right? Doing in-depth retreats, journaling time. So now we're going from other people, but you can get journal prompts and other information. I often am giving out journal prompts to you. Go home and look at this. Writing your question with your dominant hand and your answer with your non-dominant hand to really go into that subconscious to unlock those patterns that are happening, right? And the more consistently, again, that you do these things, and the more with intention that you do these things and you do the work. You're not looking for somebody else to do it for you. Even when we're seeing healers, even when we're seeing people as mentors and guides and coaches, they're not doing the work for us. They will be giving us work to do as well. Alongside, you might have multiple modalities. So you have somebody who's helping your energetic body, your physical body, meet up in resonance with your energetic body. And then you have somebody else or the same person that's like, okay, now here's your work to do at home. Because it is work, right? It is work. So activation is actually way broader and expansive than just like, I feel high. Because that's not what it is. It can feel like it, but it's this new way of seeing the world, of impacting how you are in the world, of impacting the world, of interacting with the world, of creating your world. Yeah? Okay. So much love and Stardust. If you have any questions, all my information is below. If you're watching on YouTube, it's all below. If you're watching on IG, check out the link in my bio or on Facebook. Yeah. Okay.